Hello everyone, my name is McCaw. I am the founder and director of TimeTree, and I am delighted to present to you an exciting new product that my company has developed. It's called Metis, and Metis will help you turn the complexity and uncertainty of everyday decision making into measurable and immediately actionable insight. I would like to show you a few slides that highlight the core idea of the system, and then a short demo of what it can do. Decision making can be challenging, but it ultimately comes down to the process depicted in the diagram. At some point in time, whether as a result of our accumulated knowledge or because of some unexpected event, we have a decision to make. We either make it and take the relevant action, or postpone it until we have more information. There are three aspects of decision making which I would like to highlight in particular. They are the accumulation of information over time, planning, and uncertainty management via local decisions. Before we go any further, I would just like to add that in my view, any artificial intelligence system that can model the evolution of a process in time must natively support these three. Let's look at them in turn. We make present decisions based on the information we have collected up until now. A decision could be driven by some information from yesterday, or by something we remember from 10 years ago, or maybe a combination of the two. The point is that we do not go out into the world and try to collect all the relevant information every single time we need to make a decision. We do some of it, but the vast majority of decisions are driven by what we already know at that point in time, not by what we can quickly find out. Now, planning. Eisenhower famously once said, "In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." This suggests that planning isn't a one-time activity, but a continuous process, and therefore a well-designed intelligence system should be able to do planning effortlessly. And by planning, of course, I mean being able to anticipate and handle both predictable and unpredictable events. Now let me explain what I mean by local decisions. We can't go back in time and change things, and it can be too dangerous to set a future decision in stone. So the way we make decisions is to borrow the relevant bits of the accumulated knowledge and collect any estimates we can make from planning, and then take action. What is interesting is that the execution of these local decisions, the accumulation of information, and even the planning itself can be defined as a process. Probably 80% of our informational needs in life, especially in professional life, can be anticipated before we even ask for anything, simply because those needs are part of some decision-making process. It may be an evolving process, but it is a process nonetheless. My company has built a product which can help you model, automate, and optimize any process, be it a daily report or the most complex and unpredictable artificial intelligence, all from a single environment. Now let's take a look at some examples of the processes that can be engineered inside the Metis system. First of all, every modern artificial intelligence or machine learning approach is built as a process. Natural language processing, fraud detection, cost optimization, these are just some of the multitude of the solutions that are currently being used by the businesses worldwide. And they're all based on the same principle. Information from various sources comes in, and when there is enough information, a decision is made. Projecting a competitive impact of a company merger. This is a slightly more specific example from the world of investment banking. Imagine having a live feed of all the information you need in order to assess the impact of on the market that a certain company merger will have. Market size and growth dynamics, competitive advantages of similar businesses, an estimate of their resources, etc. But what if at the same time you could project 3 months from now or 2 years from now an estimate of the competitors' strategic decisions and how those will affect their capital requirements, their demand and supply channels, their financials, even their management structure. These would be just estimates, of course, but they're all part of some decision-making process, whether done by you or by the competitor. If you could model that process and play with all the variables, getting instant feedback, how cool would that be? Another example, modeling a loan default probability. Now, the Monte Carlo method is one of the most powerful modeling methods out there. It is mathematically sound and it is exceptionally convenient for modeling the situations of high complexity. I'm proud to say that the metis system supports this method natively. Any process you can create can be optimized by Monte Carlo at no extra cost. I think this is an interesting example. The metis system is not just a modeling system. It was primarily designed to be a live environment, and it works as well with the present time decision making as with analyzing the past or modeling the future. So if you have a repetitive process that just needs to be automated, that's a very basic job for metis. Well, the list of processes in any business really does go on. I would just like to mention something important here. Most processes in a real-life business are not static. You can't just code it all up and leave it for the generations to admire. Things change, and sometimes they change fast, and the business needs to adapt quickly. That's why I built metis as a live environment, where changing and testing a process is as easy as creating it in the first place. Unlike most of the solutions you'll find on the market today, metis is not just a library that requires you to write tons of highly specialized code, which is then very costly to maintain. Metis is a live system where anyone from the CEO to a developer to a trader to a human resources specialist can work on their own processes. Maybe a market trader will use it a little bit more for historical analysis, maybe the CEO for future projections, and maybe a developer for making more reusable parts for everyone to utilize. But ultimately, the system is a comfortable and convenient way to think about the decisions we all make on a daily basis. Now I would like to demonstrate how the system could be used for analyzing and responding to a political decision in real time. Imagine that you are a financial advisor and some country in which your client has operations is preparing for a referendum on an important issue. Let's suppose that there are two sides to the referendum argument, Bob and Alice. And if Bob wins, there will be low corporate taxes but fewer skilled workers. And if Alice wins, they will get high corporate taxes but more skilled workers in the country. Now imagine that Bob's side of the argument does win. Bob is the Prime Minister, and you start advising your client to prepare for lower taxes and less talent. Now the next morning, Bob suddenly decides that he doesn't want to be the PM anymore. But luckily, Eve steps in. Eve keeps her cards close to her chest, but while her policy still has a lot of unknowns, it will most likely buy your client some time to prepare. On the one hand, this situation could have easily resulted in a fair bit of panic, as everything has changed instantly because of a personal decision rather than just the referendum result. On the other hand, I see a lot of common variables in all of these scenarios. For example, the state of the corporate taxation. That variable has a direct, measurable effect on business profitability. The cost of talent has an even more direct effect on the profitability, but it's still just a variable which one can model quite precisely given the amount of public information on wages and employment. And of course, the only thing that we'll have to add is some model of the implementation period. As you can see, a lot of the parts in our decision making are reusable, and having developed good models for them, we can respond to unexpected events extremely quickly. Additionally, Metis has a practically unlimited what-if capability. So if anyone knew anything about Bob's plans, this could have allowed us to anticipate Eve's actions and assign a non-zero probability to that outcome before the referendum results were even published. In the next video, we will look at a demo of the metis system in action.